Most have never considered what true love is from our Creator's perspective. Loving in the image that He loves begins with loving His image. His image is perfect righteousness. His righteousness is the light of perfect love. This is why He told us to purge out that which is evil from our midst. In 1 John 4 we read, "They are of the world, therefore they speak through that which is of the world, and the world hears them. They know their own. We are of Elohim, and he that knows Elohim, or knows His righteous character, hears us. He that is not of Elohim does not hear us. Of this we know the spirit of truth and the spirit of error." Pretty simple. Yeshua said that His sheep hear His voice and that they follow Him. He was His Father's Word in the flesh, and He now bears the name of His Father's Word, and He will soon return with His Father's Word coming out of His mouth to judge the nations with it. If you are not following His Father's Word, you are not following Him because you are not hearing Him, and you are not His sheep. Following Him is love because it teaches us righteous love. Living His Word does not teach us to love as the world knows it, but rather to love in the image of our Elohim's love that His Word testifies to. Verse 7, "Beloved, let us love one another, because love is of Elohim, and everyone that loves is begotten of Elohim and knows Elohim." I'm talking about true love here, not man's type of love. "He that does not love does not know Elohim, because Elohim is love." The way that the world loves is to turn the cheek to evil and to pardon it without that which is wicked changing. This is not love. It is a syrupy, meaningless love that lets evil continue in their midst. This is not of Elohim. Like I started with, understanding how to love as He loves begins with understanding His righteousness. That which opposes His righteousness is not love because it destroys love. And neither is it love to let that which opposes His righteousness to continue in our midst so that it can poison our children and continue to flourish. There is a reason why Yahweh Elohim is sending His wrath to the world for rejecting His Torah and with His statutes and judgments. His Torah teaches us to love in the manner that He loves, and He put us here to learn this. He has let man go their own way while He called out those who were molded by Him to become His temple. But now His temple is built, and that which opposes His righteousness is about ready to be purged out. The witness against man is that this is nearly the entire world. However, He is sending the coming time of a great affliction in order to humble a people to turn to Him in order to learn His righteousness and to learn to love as He loves. Will you hearken or will you forbear? He is purposing to continue to build His family in a new era of time with His way of life being lived and Satan and crew bound. The bottom line is, His way is the only way that yields everlasting peace and joy and love. And it is either His way or the fire way. All that opposes His way will be burnt up. His Word says so. The world today lets that which destroys relationships continue in their midst. They let the lies and the adulteries and the bad attitudes and the coveting and all of the other things that are abominations to our Elohim flourish. They have ignored and rejected why we were created. We were created to be made in the image of Elohim. This means that we are here to learn to love in the manner that He loves. And this means that we are to be our brother's keeper. We are to help Him build His eternal family by helping one another to become as He is. Letting that which opposes His righteousness continue in our midst is not being our brother's keeper. It is the spirit of murder to let that which will lead them to the lake of fire to continue. It is the spirit of murder to not teach our children to be as our Elohim is, because they will die if they do not learn to become as He is. In just 6 days, the hour of judgment begins. For those of you who have heard that this is coming and have not warned others, it is the spirit of murder that you have not. It is the spirit of murder that you have not cried out to tell them that Yahweh Elohim has sent His end-time messenger, the covenant, to restore all things and to declare the day of His vengeance. You have this spirit because you are not guided by Yahweh's 7 spirits. Again, Yeshua said that His sheep hear His voice and they follow Him. If you have not heard what He and His Father have spoken through me, you are not His sheep. Yahweh told Ezekiel in Ezekiel 5, "You shall also take thereof a few in number and bind them in your skirt." There have been so few of you who have been bound yourselves in the skirt that he has set me with. He has revealed that this skirt is the robe of his righteousness, and his word testifies to this. His word testifies that he has set me with this. Folks, that which nearly all of mankind has rejected and you are rejecting is awesome. It is pure love that will lead to everlasting joy and peace. Man's ways do not work. Nearly 6,000 years of self-rule proves this. Man's brand of love does not work. It is lopsided. It does not breed reciprocation. It creates sponges and greed and selfishness and coveting and a whole host of evils that come out of these things. The world is unraveling with the concept of the 99% and the 1%, even with the Arab Spring and such. Both sides of these issues are wrong, so wrong. And many of the 99% share whacked out values that both sides have. The same is true with the Arab Spring and such. The same is true with the governments of men. There is so much greed on one side of the spectrum and so many leeches on the other. And where is true love in the midst of this? It is despised and rejected in their hearts. Part of becoming as our Elohim is serving one another. I have presented the following question to many, and even in a couple of these videos. The question is, how many servants would you have if the whole world is your servant? The answer is the whole world would be your servant. But in order for this to work in a perpetual way, this means that everyone has to play ball and be one another's servants. If they are not, they need to be rebuked for their selfishness or their greed or laziness or whatever it is that breaches the chain of true love. True love is reciprocating, and it is selfless. It is loving others' lives in a manner that we give up our own lives for them, but this does not work in the world as it is. There is a paradigm shift that is required in order for this to work, and that most have rejected. Yeshua said in John 10, verse 15, "As the Father knows me, and I also know the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep." He did not lay down his life for those who rebel against his Father's word. He laid it down for those who follow him. Like he said, his sheep hear him, and they follow him, and he is his Father's word. The night before he was killed, he told his disciples in John chapter 15, "Greater love has no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends." And he tells us who his friends are. "You are my friends if you do whatsoever I commanded you." And he very clearly told us to live by his Father's every word, told us to keep the Torah if we're going to have eternal life. He said he didn't come to get rid of one jot or tittle of it till heaven and earth pass away and things like this. He said if our righteousness doesn't exceed the righteousness of the scribes and the Pharisees, we'll no way inherit the kingdom. The Apostle John also said that we ought to likewise lay down our lives for our brethren. Yeshua said we are his brethren if we do his Father's will. Righteousness is his Father's will because it is that which we are here to become. It's why he created us. True love is not laying down your life for that which opposes true love and righteousness. This is because doing so would be letting evil prevail, and true love and righteousness would be purged out in this type of a scenario. And this is what has happened, and this is backwards. And the world has this all backwards. Most of you will wish that I am dead in the coming days because I desire for that which opposes our Creator's righteousness to die. I desire for his will to be done on earth as it is in heaven, and I know that the only way for this to happen is if that which does not love in the image of Elohim's love is purged out. I am excited that this day is about upon us. I'm excited that the ark door will close in less than 6 days, and that which will follow will humble a group of people to get down off of their high horses and to start obeying the reason why they are here. I'm excited that that which refuses to do so will be purged out from before my Father's face. Go ahead and seek to kill me for this if you would like. It will not change the fact that dying you will die unless you turn from your rebellion to our Elohim's righteousness. I shaved off my hair per his Ezekiel 5 instructions, but it is growing back. But most of you are still bald and naked before his face. I speak this in his authority. You're not covered because you're not covered by his righteousness. But you are too full of pride and arrogance to even see this. I received a post from one man this morning that asked if I had considered my judgment for being what he has judged to be a false prophet. His judge is obviously not my Father's word to make this judgment. I replied to the post, his judgment is ever before my face. His word is my judge, and his word bears witness to his righteousness, his righteous character, and it bears witness to, that he has sent me. His word is what all will be judged or measured with. It is a good thing that I have his word backing me up. And then I asked him if he had the same. It is amazing how some of you write to me in your own name and tell me that I am false. We were given what all will be judged and measured with in the last days, same thing that the temple was built with. Our Messiah testified to the measuring rod. He said in John 12:48, he that sets me aside, or he that sets his Father's word aside and does not seize my saying, he said he doesn't speak his word, but his Father's word that he gave him to speak. He said he doesn't speak anything on his own. But he that does not seize my Father's sayings has one that judges him. The word that I have spoken, the same will judge him in the last day. He testified to the writings of the prophets as being his Father's word. Do you really think that it will be the good intentions that you think that you have in your heart that you will be judged by? Do you really think that you will be judged by whether or not you made a confession of a name of some make-believe Messiah with make-believe blood with your mouth, and that this will be what you're judged by? Is this why our Creator went to all of the trouble to set up this testing and proving ground here on earth and to put Satan and his crew here? Do you really think that this is what your existence in the flesh is all about? Making a confession like this with your mouth? Come on, people, you cannot be this willfully ignorant. But actually you are, because you choose to be so that you do not have to obey your Creator. Like I said, I will rejoice in the day that you are no more if you will not repent from your rebellion to his righteousness. You can rejoice that I am dead for this all you want. 3.5 days later I will be resurrected, and you are not going to like your judgment that follows with me, because our Messiah is returning with it, his Father's word coming out of his mouth like a sword. What are you going to say when this happens? Oops! For some reason I do not think this answer will cut it.